Hi, everybody. This is Jimmy, and you're reading with Jimmy. We're reading Genesis, the King James Version, chapters 18 to 19. Just a reminder, we're reading it as literature, not as gospel, not as the Word of God. And we're doing it for a reason. If you want a reminder, go back to the first chapter, and it tells you why I'm doing this. This will deepen your faith. Chapters 18 to 19. And the Lord appeared to him in the plains of Mamre. Him is actually Abram. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. There's always a challenge with pronouns in Genesis. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and he bowed himself toward the ground. And he said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away. I pray thee, from thy servant, let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort you, your hearts. And after that, ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, So do as thou hast said. And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah, and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal. Knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran unto the herd and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it to the young man, and he hastened to dress it. And he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. And they said unto him, Where's Sarah thy wife? And Abraham said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. So he here, right? He here, close that. He, this pronoun, is one of the men, right? Or, in fact, the Lord or God. And Sarah heard it in the tent, which was behind him. And now Abraham and Sarah were old, and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. And therefore, in other words, she's old, she's no longer capable of having children, right? Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have the pleasure of my Lord being old also? And the Lord said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child which I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But then Sarah denied, saying, I didn't laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, thou didst laugh. And the men rose up from thence, and they looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham should surely become a great and mighty nation, and for all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, and that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have come done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me. And if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said to the Lord, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure, there would be 50 righteous within the city. Will you destroy it and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are there? That be afar from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked? Well, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of the earth do right? And the Lord said, Well, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak to the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure, there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous? If thou wilt destroy the city for the lack of 5? And the Lord said, If I find there are 45, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him again and said, Peradventure, there shall be 40 found there. And the Lord said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And Abraham said unto him, O let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure, there shall be 30 to be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found there? And the Lord said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, O let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And the Lord said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way as soon as he left communing with Abraham. And Abraham returned unto his place. Chapter 19. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early and go on your way. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And Lot pressed upon them greatly. And they turned in unto him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and he did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both young and old, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and they said unto him, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and he shut the door after him. And he said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, I have 2 daughters, which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them unto you, and do to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. And therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one, this fellow, this Lot, he came to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, Lot. And they came near to breaking the door. But the men put forth their hand, and they pulled Lot into the house to them, and they shut the door. And then they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said to Lot, unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law, thy sons, thy daughters, and whoever hast in the city? Bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of the Lord. And the Lord had sent us to destroy it. And Lot, let's go back up here, went out, spoke to his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and he said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning rose, and then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy daughters, which are here, lest they be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters. And the Lord being merciful unto him, they brought him forth, and set him without the city. And it came to pass that when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Not so, my Lord. Behold, now that thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it's a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is not that a little one? And my soul shall live. My soul shall live. And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, and I will not overthrow this city for which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape, for I cannot do anything till thou come thither. And therefore the name of the city was called Zor. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zor. And then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of those cities and that which grew upon the ground. But Lot's wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning in the place where he stood before the Lord, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as smoke of the furnace. And it came to pass that when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and he sent Lot out in the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt. And so Lot went up out of Zor and dwelt in the mountain, and his two daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zor, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his two daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger one, Our father is old, and there's not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve the seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night, and thou go in and lie with him, that we may preserve the seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night, and the younger one arose and lay with him. And Lot perceived not when she lay with him, nor when she rose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bore a son, and it was called Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the same is the father of the Moabites. And the younger, she also bore a son, and called his name Benami. That same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. Sorry. You've been reading Genesis with Jimmy. Isn't that a strange story? A couple chapters? Wait till you see my analysis. Learn more about the Bible by continuing to watch our ongoing videos and readings of this great story. Isn't it great? You've been reading it with, these are chapters 18 and 19. Be sure to read other classics on my website. We've got a lot of them. And why do we read it? To learn how other people lead their lives and how to lead our own. And remember, we're not reading this as gospel. This is literature, classical literature. All the characters are characters in a story told to us by the third person narrator. God is a character, the angels are a character, Lot is a character, etc., etc., etc. So our intention is not to harm your beliefs, but to help them make strong. You got a comment, question? Reading with Jimmy? Jimmy at readingwithjimmy.com is my email. Jimmy at readingwithjimmy.com. Thanks for coming by. Hope to see you for the next chapters of Genesis.